3, 2, 1. We're live. Live with Donovan Struthers. What's up, dog?
What's going on, man?
All right, so I've got Donovan here, and he is the man, the myth, the legend behind Just Walking.
Yeah,
So what's up? And actually, if you can, just go ahead and pull that mic closer to you,
sure.
just a hair, about a fist away from
Yeah.
you. Yeah, a little closer, a little closer, a
Yeah,
little
that's good.
closer. Get
My
get
grill.
make love of that thing. All right, so I got Donovan here. I am stoked to have him on. So he has started up I don't know if you call it a food stand,
Mobile food
a
stand.
mobile food stand
Yeah,
would be the correct nomenclature.
yeah.
But and it's called Just Walking, and I've been there a couple times, and I'm a pretty picky eater. I'm very particular, I'd like to say, and it's damn good. So holla. This is following up from Robbie's. I had Nate on last week, and now I got him on, and I'm fucking stoked about this because I've been wanting to have you on. This is like I'd say probably a month out. We just talked about
Yep,
this.
a month ago.
Yeah, Donovan's done so much cool shit, and so I'm pumped to have him have him come on, talk about the restaurant and the food, I guess, and probably more of some of your traveling experience.
Sure,
So
sure.
let's get started, man. Where how did you get started on all this stuff?
So I lived abroad. I lived abroad in China for 5 years, and during COVID, I couldn't travel and was sitting on some money and was bored. And two Chinese guys and I opened up a bar in Nanjing, a little shitty hole in the wall. It was called Side Street Saloon.
Yeah, because it was like so like
It
you're
was a
doing the
cowboy
opposite
a
now.
cowboy
Yeah,
bar.
you're
Yeah.
doing the America shit back home.
Yep, yep. And nah, so I was doing that. I was still working full time, and that was just kind of a little. I just got bored.
Yeah,
I wanted to do something interesting, so I did that, and that was like my first like dip into entrepreneurship, and I was just thinking like, man, how can I get this to be my full time gig?
yeah.
Like,
Over there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
At the time, yeah, I just like, man, I want to think about how can I make this better. What beers can I bring in on draft? What kind of specials can I do for people?
do you have Bud Light?
Budweiser,
Oh,
yeah.
sick, dude.
Um, yeah, Heineken was our main like domestic draft, I guess, because Heineken's huge global beer.
Yeah.
And then I partnered up with a few local breweries and had a few like IPAs and stouts and stuff on draft. We
Hell
had a
yeah.
pumpkin spice beer at one point.
Do you have Founders All Day IPA?
No, not Founders, but nothing that good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, so I did that, and then I decided to part ways with my partners and started making an exit strategy to come back to America. And I had always thought about wanting to do food when I got back, just because I'm a huge foodie,
Hmm.
traveled a lot, and ate a lot of delicious foods that you think that you're getting in America. You go to, fill in any kind of Asian name, Chinese restaurant, Chinese restaurant, Thai restaurant, Japanese restaurant, and around here specifically, it's really hard to get authentic, good food.
Yeah. Holla.
And you think that you're getting Chinese food, and I can tell you that the Chinese restaurant that you've gone to, it's probably not.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to say I became a snob,
Yeah.
but
But I mean,
it's not real.
yeah.
It's
Right.
not the same thing.
Yeah.
I came back home in April, and I was eating quite a bit of Thai food because there were a lot of decent Thai restaurants when I was living in China in Nanjing, and
Yeah. And you were
um,
probably like
I went to a Thai
used to that.
restaurant in West Lafayette,
Yeah.
and I ordered this dish, and it looked nothing like how it should have.
Uh-huh.
It tasted kind of similar to what it should have,
Yeah.
and it was just off. It was just I'm like, okay, like something's got to be done about this.
Yeah.
And like I can't get the foods that I really enjoyed, and there are a lot of times traveling where I'd be speaking to a friend or speaking to my girlfriend and say, man, like this would kill back home. People would
Yeah.
really eat this up. It's a shame that Americans can't get authentic Chinese food or authentic Thai food or Indonesian food.
Right. And you were
And
probably like really craving it because you were there for a while,
yeah,
right? So you
yeah,
come back and
yeah.
you're like,
I mean, I
damn, man,
had
I
to
wish I
eat
had. Yeah.
Chinese food every day, like all day for
Yeah.
5 years.
Right. Yeah. So like,
And then fill in. It was a big city. Fill in like any other kind of cuisine that you can get in a large city. I was pretty lucky. And then coming back to Attica, you don't have as many choices, or even Lafayette. So yeah, I just wanted to do something about it. So I was cooking for myself and kind of talking to my friends and family back home. Like I want to do a food stand, or I want to get a truck. I'm maybe not a restaurant, because I like I don't like the brick and mortar restaurants. You're stuck in one place, and you can't go where the people are.
right,
I like the
right.
freedom of the thought of the freedom of having a food truck or a food stand.
Yeah.
If you want to go to an event in Indianapolis, then you can.
Yeah.
If you want to go out of state, then you can.
And food trucks are like, they're popping. Like
Oh, for
there's,
sure. Yeah,
when when I went to Hawaii, I
it's
mean,
a
this has
thing.
just been, it's been a couple, a month or two ago now. Dude, it's like that's all there is food
Right.
truck. I mean, there's like some places, but I bet that I don't know, maybe it's deceiving, but like everywhere you went there was a food truck, and there wasn't a restaurant there beside it. It was just food trucks everywhere.
So yeah, exactly. It's kind of the right time.
Yeah.
It's now becoming more popular over here, and also like you go to Asia, and most people are eating their food from a food stand, like a food vendor, not a restaurant.
Are they really?
Um, Big cities, small villages, there you have all kinds of people that are serving food outside, or just mobile in general, and you have ones that are good, the ones to stay away from. No different than like a just a brick and mortar restaurant. But
Right.
anyways, I thought more and more about this, and it was kind of a pipe dream for a long time. And then I got back home, and I just didn't see myself fitting in anywhere, like job wise, and nothing fulfilling. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I can try this. And I knew exactly what I wanted to sell first.
Yeah.
And it was the Indonesian style fried rice. It's called nasi goreng. And
And it is kick ass.
so my girlfriend's Indonesian, and that was our hangover food. So,
Yeah.
like, living in China, you got a lot of leftover rice, white rice in your fridge, and that's perfect for fried rice. And her and I would go out with friends and wake up the next morning or noon or whatever, groggy and hungry, and she's like, "Oh, do you want to whip up some nasi goreng?" I said, "Hell yeah!"
Hell yeah.
And I just kept telling her, I'm like, "Man, this would slap back home. Like,
Yeah.
people would be all over this. It's savory, it's sweet, it's got a little bit of spice,
It's
and
filling.
it's filling. Yeah, rice, sits like a rock in your stomach, so fills you
Soaks
up.
up that alcohol.
Yeah, it soaks up your booze. Yeah, whatever. And but yeah, it was just something I kept saying, and I finally just took action and just started slinging fried rice on the front side of the road. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much how it started. And in with all things, I'm just trying to grow and think about what I want to bring to the stand next. And I'm rolling out a new menu this next week, just because winter's coming around and wind's gnarly. It's getting colder, and gonna start focusing on prepping and serving food inside rather than grilling outside.
Yeah.
So that
And
involves a whole different menu
And for
change.
those of you guys that are watching, if you've been there, then comment and say like, hey, I've been there, and maybe talk about something that you liked that you had there. I guess what'd you think? And I guess kind of moving forward, you say you're going inside. So where are you at right now? Because maybe for those of you
Yeah,
guys that are
so
listening haven't been
my
there.
the commissary kitchen that I rent from is Bazaar Bakery,
Yeah.
Bazaar Farms, just outside of Attica, towards Lafayette, off of Bethel. Super awesome people. Jason and Misty are phenomenal to work with. They are super super kind and hospitable. Anything that I need, or ask them a question about something, and they're right on it to help me or answer something or whatever. They're just super accommodating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been working out of there. So I prep my food from their kitchen, and then when I was doing the rice, I do my prep ahead of time, and then everything was made to order outside at the stand. So with the menu change now, it's going to be kind of a bit of a role reverse where it'll be kind of prep heavy and
Mm-hmm.
like super easy serving. Like I'm prepping pulled pork sandwiches, like Chinese style pulled pork sandwiches, soup that takes a lot of time cooking inside. I will be serving inside as well.
Yeah.
So just go into the bakery, go up to the counter, and I'll sell you some soup.
Hell yeah.
Takeout only. It is their restaurant. I don't want to take advantage of the situation that I have and just start allowing people to come in and
Oh,
running
yeah.
their restaurant like it's mine. But they already do enough for me. Like it's like I said, like they are so nice and so great to work with, and I'm just really thankful for the opportunity to be out there and for them to see the opportunity in me, and it's just been win-win.
Right.
Like
That's got to feel good too.
bringing people out there because they're not in town, so it helps them get a little bit
Yeah.
more
Cause
eyes on their cafe or the bakery, and helps them with their sales and whatever residual pies or baked goods or
yeah.
desserts that they can't get rid of during the day. I set up the stand. It's gone by that evening when they're not operating. So it's been working out for both of us quite a bit.
Yeah. And so like that's pretty cool because I know when I was out there, dude, it was packed. Like the parking lot, there was a bunch of
Yeah.
people there. You couldn't even turn around.
Yeah. So yeah, sales have been pretty decent, and it's yeah, people come hang out, and it doesn't take that long to cook rice. But if it's if I'm 10 orders deep, then it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful out there.
Oh yeah.
They have a barn with chickens, and they got cows across the street. They got
They
a
got the horse.
horse.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I was checking out that horse. I'm like, come
And
here there, guy.
it's I'm serving from like 4:30 to 7:30, so it's right around sunset time, and it's like the most beautiful part of the day out there
Yeah.
with just its positioning and such. And yeah, it's been overall just an awesome experience.
When are you gonna be out there next?
I will start serving again off the new menu tomorrow, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday,
Yeah.
4:30 to 7:30. Again, this is a new menu, no more rice, sadly.
Are you? I was gonna say, are you bummed about that? Because man, the rice was so
It's kind of
good,
like
dude.
it's like giving away your child.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun.
Yeah.
You helped me grow so much. And
Yeah.
now I'm done with you.
Yeah. Get out of here. Beat it.
But
Yeah. The rice was
it was hard.
kick-ass.
It was hard to let it go because yeah, there's been a lot of positive feedback, and people seem to really be digging it, and it just goes to show like if you have like if you think you're onto something and you're scared or nervous about taking that step, just go ahead and try it because
Yeah.
it may work out. And
Yeah.
in
Holla.
this situation, it did.
Holla. Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
did.
like, and I've felt that same way when I first started doing this stuff. Like I left the 9 to 5. And I mean,
Mhm.
looking back, it's been 5 years ago now. But it was so nerve wracking, and like I can remember just the scrutiny that I put myself under. Like, man, like you're a fucking idiot. You're gonna blow it.
Yeah.
Like no one's your biggest critic like yourself, and so.
Yes. That
You
is
just sit there and think like,
100%
man,
true.
this is not going to work. But like, part of you like just knows it deep in like, I
Yeah.
got this. And then you start in on that and it's like, I'll make it work. I'll figure it out. And yeah. And it's kick ass seeing like another person do that, especially somebody I grew up with and seeing you do your thing. And like, you know what, all adversity aside, like I'll get it, I'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
that's sweet to see, man, and congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks. And that was like one of the first things that you and I talked about when I came back home.
Yeah.
Or there was one visit that I made maybe after being abroad for like 2 or 3 years. I came back home and I stopped by, and you and I haven't spoke in a long time.
Yeah.
And I came up here, I saw your kitchen light on, saw your dumbass walking around.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I was like, he's up.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm not
So
going. Yeah, I'm not.
I'm gonna stop by.
Yeah, he's
And
probably just
and
not.
like the whole reason was just like to say, dude, you're killing it.
Oh, thank you.
At that point, like
Yeah.
you're starting to come up, and like things were working out, doing your own independent thing, and I just thought it was so cool, and I had to tell you.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
dude, 10 o'clock at night, man.
Yeah.
I was prepping my dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I eat like 10 o'clock. That's pretty early dinner. Anybody that knows me knows that's true. But Roger Killer says the rice is fire. Can't wait to try the pulled pork. Holla Roger. What's up?
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So let's see what else we got. You had mentioned food trucks. Is that in the future? Is that
Yeah.
nearby?
So, as with anything in this life, like it all costs
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
whether it's time or money
Right.
or money
Or both and more
and
money.
money. So yeah, you gotta crawl before you walk before you run, and I have to tell myself that because I I have these big plans, but I'm also just serving fried rice on the side of the road. So
Yeah.
you gotta start somewhere. But so yeah, that's the whole point. That I mean, that's
Is that the end goal, I
it
guess?
costs anywhere between like 25 to 30 thousand dollars on the low end for a trailer or a truck, and
Mm,
then the sky's the limit.
right.
And you have to make a decision if you want a trailer or if you want a truck. And one side note, like it's really dumb when people say, I tell them I'm probably gonna get a trailer. I'm like, oh, don't you want to get like a real food truck? I'm
Oh.
like, what do you? It's still a mobile kitchen that just
Asshole.
doesn't have an engine. Like, and my thought and the thought process behind that is, if you to be able to buy a step van,
Yeah.
like
That's like
a
that's
retired UPS or
yeah, yeah,
FedEx
like
truck,
the Lay's
they are
truck.
expensive. Even they're ran to hell. They're still expensive, and then you're taking on a piece of equipment that's been
Yeah.
ran to hell,
Yeah,
and
and
then you
like
have to hope that it continues to run. And if you don't get your truck running, well, your kitchen isn't moving,
yeah.
and then you're not selling food. So
Yeah. And like
that's my
everyone that
thought
I've ever
process
seen
there.
anyways is like tires are flat and it's parked anyway. So it's like,
Yeah.
wow, it looks like your mobile shit's
So,
not so mobile.
yeah, I want to get a food trailer, but yeah, that just takes a lot of careful planning and it takes a lot of money. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now and sticking out with out of bazaars and um, hopefully by spring, early summer, I'll have my plan finished to start constructing and building a trailer,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
and then I'll have my own mobile food unit.
Yeah. And where would
And
you go with that?
so, with having a mobile food establishment, the permit is by county.
Okay.
So, as of right now, Fountain and Warren County are conjoined, but I believe that they are splitting up, and that will no longer be the case after December, or sorry, yeah, after the end of this year. So at that point,
Damn,
I'll
that's
have to get a permit for Fountain County. I'll renew my permit for Fountain County, and then I'll have to get one for Warren County if I want to go there. If I want to go to Tippecanoe County, I'll have to get a permit for there. Blah blah blah. And
damn, really.
but once you get one or two or three, like the dominoes kind of fall because it's all the same state health code.
Oh,
It's then when you travel out of state, then maybe there's specific things that you need to change about your process, or you need to make sure that your trailer is up to code with the specific state's requirements because every state's different. But
yeah.
um, so I would want to stay local. Again, that was kind of the inspiration behind all of this, is just to kind of give people some different food choices around here and give them something, an authentic experience
Hmm.
eating this food. So I would stick around here and then try to branch out into bigger events, say in Lafayette or maybe even Indianapolis, and then just take it from there and see
Yeah.
where it goes.
Yeah. What's been like some adversities that you've had to go through to I don't know, like I'm sure maybe getting the word out for like customers and stuff like that's been
Mm.
kind of tough. Like what has there been anything like that you've had to overcome, or that maybe if there's somebody else that's thinking about doing something like this, you'd be like, "Hey man, hang in there, buddy, you got it."
Yeah, I guess just, I mean, the whole working for yourself, there's no one going to tell you to do the work.
Right. Yeah,
So
I could agree with
it's just a
that.
big transition of like being, you have to have good time management skills when you're working for a company or a job or whatever, but you have to have even better time management skills when you're working for yourself, because you fuck off for the whole day, then you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do when you don't have a job. No one's barking at you to go, hey, go back to work or whatever. So
Right.
I guess just little things like that kind of add up over time that you experience when you're trying to do something by yourself. So just having a better grasp on my time management, being more organized, thinking about how I can engage with my customers, my patrons, trying to be creative, trying to see what works, and but yet also trying to think outside of the box to do something clever or new.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess just a combination of those things have been just not the tough part of this, but just the part that is really where I'm growing and learning
Yeah.
from all this. Cooking is, I've never cooked in a professional sense other than prepping in kitchens and such when I was in college. So it's I don't want to say it's not difficult to cook, but consistency is key.
Hmm.
And so once trial and error a bunch of times, and then you kind of get it down pat, and as long as you are staying consistent, then it's pretty smooth sailing. And it's not complicated for me. I only had one menu item, and that was the
Right.
fried rice,
Yeah.
and I'm going on to two or three menu items now. So that's not really the difficult part. The difficult part is just trying to stay consistent, and then all those other things that the administrative stuff that comes along with being your own
Oh, yeah.
business owner. That is by far
Yeah, that
just
stuff does suck.
the learning curve.
Yeah, I get that. And so like I I don't know. I feel like I'm sure marketing's got to be a tough thing too. Like,
Sure.
trying to figure all that stuff out. And it was pretty cool though to go out there and just see that there's like a parking lot full of cars and there was a
Yeah.
line. Like, I mean, it wasn't like,
Yeah, I was banking on a lot of buzz and word of mouth and social media, and just combining all those things together, and it's really worked out. It's been enough for me to stay afloat and earn a little bit of money, and being able to put that money into further, menu items and projects and things that I want to work on, so
right.
people can have better food options around here, more food options, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I guess another thing too that I'm pretty stoked to talk about, and I don't want to take all the buzz away from just walking because it's kick ass, but like I know a lot of this came from your stay in China
Yeah.
and like how that was, and I guess where do you tie that? Where do you cross that over into being here? Like when you were in China, did you see like the way that they were doing it and you want to bring that over here, or is it different here but just with similar food? Like I guess what's the commonality here? How does that make it authentic?
Well, ingredients obviously is a huge thing,
Sure.
and over here it's quite difficult to source specific ingredients when you want to have an authentic dish. So, for instance, the pulled pork that I'm doing is not just crock pot pulled pork. I have like
Yeah.
15 different spices that are in that.
Uh-huh.
And some of the ingredients are probably things that people have never heard of.
Yeah.
So getting and sourcing things is difficult. It's time consuming and it's expensive. And I feel like that's probably why you don't see authentic food over here
Hmm.
as much, or people call it this dish, but really it's not that, because it's missing these factors to the dish itself, because they're cutting corners, or it's too difficult to source
Yeah.
in bulk these ingredients that they want. But because I'm working at such a low volume,
Yeah.
I can do it.
Right.
And also too, just like food is just the common factor of everyone. Like everyone eats.
Yep.
And I eat a lot. And I love food. I love trying new stuff, and I went abroad, and I didn't hold any reservations to trying something new. And I feel like if I can get that across too with the people in this area, just
Yeah.
try something new.
Right.
Just try something new. Going into this, it was how can I give them something different yet it's still familiar.
Hmm.
So it's been kind of a spectrum of like familiarity, and like being familiar. Like, people know what fried rice is,
Yeah.
but they've never had Indonesian fried rice.
Yeah.
So like that's the exotic factor to it. That's the interesting
How far can I push these people?
So yeah, so it's in there, and really it was only it's only two specific ingredients that differentiate it from say Chinese fried rice.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's been a bit of that, like trying to curate things that I want to have with the stand. So the soups that I have a meatball soup, and then I have essentially the same soup but without meat. It's a vegan
Mm.
option, and the meatballs are substituted out for mushroom. But it's think of like it's kind of like stew. It's cabbage, potatoes, and carrots and meat.
Yeah.
Like it's not really anything different that people eat here already. It's just maybe a slightly different flavor profile, um, maybe consistency or sorry, textures maybe a little bit different because the soup's it has tapioca starch, so it's kind of like goopy. That's why
Yeah.
it's not quite a soup, but it's not a stew. Stew like it has gravy in it, but anyways, it's trying to find things that I enjoyed abroad that I know people would like back here that aren't, but still aren't like too exotic and too weird for them to be off put by.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I ate a lot of different kinds of shit when I was over there. I ate a lot of things that people would never imagine eating. The big thing, really, back like cooking for people here, I guess, and like trying to cook this food. There's a lot of wimps when it
Yeah.
comes to spice.
Oh, dude, I know. I
There's a lot
love
of wimps,
I
man.
love hot shit. Like
I
you will not outspice me. It will not
yeah,
happen. It
I
will
love
not
spicy
happen.
things,
Yeah. Yeah, and
and
yeah, if it's not vanilla ice cream around here,
there's so many people that it's like no spice, no
you guys are
spice,
wussies,
and like
dude.
that's
I'll
fine.
say
Like
it.
I get it, it's
I
fine.
don't. I don't get it. You guys suck.
But yeah, it makes me cry a little on the inside. It's like, man, you're missing like so much extra flavor.
Yeah.
Like you don't even want a little bit. It's like no
Yeah.
spice at all. I'm like, okay, man,
All right, dude.
you're
Whatever.
missing out
What
on like a
about
full
you're talking about being
thing.
like abroad though? I want to hear like what's the crazy story you got from over there? Let's hear like
Um,
what's your best one? Lay it on me. Hate to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna put you on the
I
spot.
mean, I guess I'll try to keep it food related.
It doesn't
Um,
have to be. It's China, man. I want to hear
yeah,
some crazy
well,
shit. What was it like?
I mean
Like you did it so long.
that's a
You were there
loaded
for.
question, man. There's a lot of crazy. China's a pretty crazy place, man. I mean,
Yeah,
every day was pretty crazy.
yeah. You're there for 5 years, man. What was
5 years.
that like when you left? How just starting off? What did you
So
think?
yeah,
Like,
I left in 2017.
were you thinking like this was a fucking mistake, or were you stoked to
Oh
get there?
no, I
No,
was
you.
terrified, but
Yeah,
when I got there, I'm like, man, this is gonna be fun.
yeah. So you weren't
This is an
okay.
adventure. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then that's pretty much what it was for 5 years, just an adventure.
yeah,
Because even after being there for 5 years, and you kind of feel acclimated, and you kind of feel like, oh, this is my way of life now, but every day's a new day over there. Like there's just weird stuff happening that is just so different from your upbringing or
right.
things that you've experienced in your normal day to day back home
Yeah.
that you see for the first time there every day, like just different things. Um, I don't know, like crazy stuff.
I mean, it just
Things
blows me.
worth mentioning, and that I can mention. Trying to
It just blows me away. Like thinking like you don't did you speak any Chinese or like
a
any?
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I had studied a few months before coming, so I had like a basic understanding. I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard to pinpoint specific crazy stories because there's just a lot of gnarly shit that happened over there.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID in itself. I mean, I like to talk about China like in two parts, like before COVID and then after COVID.
Because you
So
were
I
there.
would
Were you
like,
there after?
yeah,
You were okay.
yeah. I came back home April 2022 this year. Yeah, this
Oh
year.
shit! I didn't
So
realize
yeah,
that. Okay. So you were there in
I
the
was
heat
there
of it.
2.5 years prior to COVID and 2.5 years after COVID.
Damn.
So yeah,
That
I
had to have
mean,
been
there's a
wild.
lot of things to talk about from either side of those, but um, yeah, I spoke a little bit of Chinese before coming, just enough to get by, and then after that, like there was a lot of support from my coworkers and colleagues, my Chinese colleagues, to help with translating. And Chinese is one of those languages where um, you can study for years and years and years, but you it's not always a guarantee that you can communicate like effectively with someone.
Yeah.
because there's different dialects, because there's different ways of saying things. Um, and when you're studying, just like very much, studying anything, like, and then you apply it to the real life, like school will tell you what you should know and like give you a foundation, but when you enter into your career, you learn how to do what it is, and
Yeah.
language can be that same way. And Chinese specifically, like Chinese language, like learning is, they'll give you the roots and like the foundation into how you should be speaking. And then, but then you go and you think you know how to say something, and you go to the specific region in China and they say something completely different. You're like, well, shit,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
5 years down the drain, like they can't talk to me and I can't
Yeah.
talk to them. So
Yeah.
um yeah, so yeah, before COVID, life was a blast. I was traveling all over Asia. I've been to almost like 10 different countries now at this point, and spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, traveling around there and traveling within China. And yeah, life was great. And then I was coming back from, it was Chinese New Year of 2020, and Chinese New Year is Spring Festival. It's like China's Christmas. It's their
Okay.
biggest holiday of the year.
Yeah.
And generally, like a whole week is like just shut down. Like the whole country is just shut down, and everyone's going to see their families and such.
And what time of year is this?
This is spring, late winter, yeah, late winter.
Okay.
It's spring festival, but it's not in the spring. It's fucking cold still. It's like February.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, could be January. It's based on the lunar year,
Okay.
Lunar New Year. And I did a trip to Japan and a trip to Korea. I did a week in Tokyo and a week in Seoul, and I flew back to Nanjing where I was living, January 29th, 2020. And that week in Korea, my last week of traveling, I was on the subway, and there it was still quite common to see people wearing masks. It's a common thing in Asia to see people
Right.
do it. If they're
Right.
if they're sick, they don't want to get other people sick, so they wear masks out of respect.
Right.
So you'd see people wearing masks, but you never think of anything. And then like as the days went on, like seeing stuff on the news and seeing more masks being worn on the subway,
Mm-hmm.
just like, what is going on?
And then at
And
that
it's
time,
all stemming from China. And I'm thinking, I'm like, fuck, I'm going back there.
yeah. But
I
were they
I
calling it were they calling it COVID at that time, or were they
Yeah,
still trying to figure out what the fuck's going on?
SARS
Yeah.
virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They it had been. I remember brushing off a news article that I saw on WeChat in December about this virus,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, who gives a shit?
I did the
Whatever.
same
It's like
thing here.
someone got sick. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't know when, but
And
yeah.
then yeah, I remember it just kind of becoming more and more of a severity of people getting sick.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking I got to go back there because all my belongings are there. My girlfriend's there. My life's there. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm freaking out because I have to return to this place that everywhere in the world is deeming unsafe.
Yeah.
So I remember I had just visited as Namsan Mountain in Korea and saw the Seoul Tower, and it was that point where they were starting to restrict travel. And I remember having a phone call with my mom and telling her, I'm like, I got this much money in my bank account, honey, and I can, book a flight back to America, and or I may go to Indonesia and just try to ride this out. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it's, if I
Right,
should
because
be
you're
going,
probably scared.
if
I
I should
mean,
be going back there at this point because I'm in Korea.
yeah.
And so yeah, I was working out an exit plan because I just didn't know what the hell was going to happen, and I was communicating with my colleagues and my boss at work. I was in management at the time with this private education company, and I had been a manager for 2 years, and um, I had subordinates under me
Hmm.
asking me questions, and I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
I had 30 people that were contacting me,
Right.
and I'm supposed to tell them what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And it's Chinese New Year. It's like the largest migration on Earth. There's 1.4 billion people that are all traveling at this point.
Oh man.
And there are foreigners that are traveling within China that I was working with, or they had gone back home, or they were in a third country or whatever. So I made the decision to go back to Nanjing and just see, wait another week and just see what happens. And within like days of my return, like shit just got shut down.
Like
And
businesses and
yeah,
yeah.
um, I lived in a I lived in an apartment complex with like multiple buildings, and it was gated. And um, at that point, they restricted entry of people going in or out.
Oh, couldn't even leave your
Yeah.
place.
Oh, dude, I there from February, let's see, February, March, April. Yeah, I didn't leave my apartment building for like 3 months.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Damn, that have been brutal.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was my girlfriend and I. Um, Delivery drivers were deemed essential workers, so like thank
Like
God for them.
delivering food and
Yeah,
shit.
thank God for them. And like maybe a quarter of grocery stores and restaurants were operating at this point, and they weren't allowing takeout. It was for deliveries only. And they like, thankfully, China has like an awesome delivery infrastructure. As dumb as that sounds, but it's it too long to explain. But there's millions of these guys that drive e-bikes around the city, and thankfully there's so many of them to be
Yeah.
able to make sure people got food and water during that time. So yeah, I mean, it was, I remember we went to online teaching, and I was managing people, trying to manage people like online, and like
Yeah.
talk to people above me, talk to people below me. And it was quite unnerving to go back into school.
Right,
And
I'm
it's just
sure.
like, oh, like seeing people again, like
Yeah.
seeing the children, seeing my coworkers. And it was really nuts, man.
Was it gnarly over there? Like, a lot of people getting sick and like did you get sick there? Like how was that?
Guess how many people I know personally who got sick over there?
Oh, I have no idea.
Guess.
10.
Zero.
None, really.
Zero.
Nobody got sick over there that you knew.
I don't know. I don't know anyone, a foreigner or a Chinese person, who got sick over there during that time. For the whole 2.5 years that I lived there prior to COVID,
Damn, no kidding.
didn't know a single person that got sick.
Really?
Um, in like majority of the outbreaks were happening in Wuhan early on, and then it was because of that lockdown that happened. Everything was pretty contained, and then there'd be flare ups in cities. So like
Mm-hmm.
Nanjing, for example, the city that I lived in, population of 9 million people, and if like 3 cases came out, they'd lock down a whole district, a district of where 1 million people.
Oh
They'd
shit.
lock down the whole district.
Really?
Or they'd get to a point where they'd lock down the whole city. And um, there's this app called Alipay, and it's one of the massive apps that pretty much your whole life runs through.
Yeah, I remember you were telling
And
me about that.
there's
You pay
there
like your rent and your
yeah,
bills
you
and
can
all that
pay
shit on there.
rent, you can buy movie tickets, you can send people money on, and it's nuts.
Yeah.
But there's an application that it's geo tracking you,
Yeah.
and it'll give you a health code of green, yellow, or red. And green is you are in a place of no risk, yellow is medium risk, and red is high risk. Or red because you've been in close proximity to a person who is likely to have caught it or have been exposed to the virus.
Yeah.
So you have to show your health code and to go into a restaurant, into a building before you get on a
Damn.
train.
Really?
Yeah, if your code changes colors, then
Your ass is out.
the government knows. Like officials know. They'll
Yeah.
come. And there was a neighbor of mine who lived across the hall this past year. Their health code changed to yellow, and this was right after a holiday. So I was coming back, and management was installing cameras in the hallway, positioned at their door.
Oh my God,
And
really?
there was like a sign slapped on their door and stuff. And I'm
Like
like,
shunning this guy.
what the hell's going on? Yeah, what the hell's
Yeah.
going on? So I'm worried because I have to go into work. If I get sick or if my health code changes, they won't let me in the school.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not sick, my health code changes color. I cannot go to work.
That is
So,
insane.
and I'm right across the hall. So I contact management. I said, "What's going on? Like, are they sick? You know, whatever." And they're like, "No, they have a yellow code, and they have a
Oh.
7-day quarantine that they have to fulfill, and they have to be monitored 24/7."
Damn, and like, dude, if this guy opens up his door and you open up your door at the same time, you're fucked.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they can't open their door.
Oh, you can't even do that.
Like, you can get something from outside, but you have to immediately return back to your apartment. You have to be isolated.
Damn, that's crazy.
So I don't know what you could probably go to jail for exiting after being told that you need to stay, but everything that I read on, like, I would get like updates and stuff on my phone, like text messages to say like conditions of like my district or something to say, you know, like no one can travel to this district or stay within the here. But and then like at the bottom it said like you are responsible if you don't obey what's being advised to you
Yeah.
and you cause people to get sick. Essentially, it all goes to you.
No shit.
And yeah, so it just it was that for 2.5 years, man. Like just big brother, like just staring at you, always knows where you are.
Right.
You already have like a high level of scrutiny as a foreigner there to begin with, and then Chinese propaganda started saying that it came from America,
Did it really?
and
I didn't know that.
then oh yeah, and then they I used to play this game on the subway. I lived on the there were 9 subway lines in my city, and I lived on the one that went straight vertical from north to south, covering the city.
Mhm.
And I lived at the very north terminal subway station, and it was 7 subway stops to get to the downtown. And I play this game. I'd get on the train, you know, it's empty because it's the terminal, and I'd sit at the very end of a row, and I'd wait to see how many stops it would take until someone sat next to me. Dude, probably half the time, like, and I rode the subway every day.
Yeah.
Half the time, I could get all the way from there all the way to downtown, and it'd be shoulder to shoulder, people crammed in the subway, but my seat next to me would remain empty because
Oh.
they were scared to sit next to me
Oh, that's
because of COVID.
because you got it. Yeah, you brought it here.
Because I'm a white guy,
Yeah.
I yeah,
Damn,
I
that
have
is
COVID, and
insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's this yeah,
Everybody is jam packed.
it's a really weird time to live over there right now. Like I don't understand how some of my friends that don't have any like big ties to China still live there. I don't understand why they're still there.
Yeah, that is
I have
crazy.
friends that are married to Chinese or whatever, and or they have businesses there, or you know they've been there for 10 plus years. Like I get it, like that's their home. Like
Yeah.
they've made the decision to stay there. But
Right.
some people were doing what I was doing. You know, just I knew wasn't going to be there forever, and I'm glad I made the decision to leave when I did. Like for instance, like there was a big outbreak that happened, and again I say big, but in Shanghai in February and March, you know, it would have been March of this year. There were like 1,000 or a couple thousand cases, and that's huge. They built quarantine units and like airport hangars to
Oh,
house people,
really?
like because it was that bad. Like they deem it that bad. Meanwhile, Shanghai is a city of like 20 plus million people.
Yeah.
So it's just a pin drop, you know, like it's
Right.
a
Yeah.
drop in the bucket of what of how many people were actually sick.
Yeah.
And I flew out March 25th, and on March 28th they locked down Shanghai. No one could like come or go, like in or out of
Damn. So you
Shanghai.
got out like
Right. And I
yeah.
flew out of Shanghai. Yeah, I flew out of
Yeah.
Shanghai. So yeah, I got out just in the nick of time, and like yeah, in
And you come back here and everybody's sick.
well, everyone's sick and no one's wearing a mask and no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
This is America,
yeah,
bitch.
I just like, well, I,
We'll
I
be
had to
sick if we
get,
want.
I had to get two, I had to get 2 forms of negative test results
To come back.
from a hospital. Yeah,
Yeah.
this was the the United States requirement, even as a citizen,
I had to do that.
to come back.
I had to do that to go to Ireland. It was
Yeah,
the same thing.
they dropped that in June, I believe.
Yeah.
Or not June, maybe it was a little later than that, but it's no longer the case. But so I had 2 layovers. I had a layover in Tokyo and I had a layover in Korea, and or vice versa. Korea first and then Tokyo, and then I had to have 2 forms of negative test results, and I got a paper slip and I got a PDF sent to my phone from 2 separate hospitals. And I go to the Shanghai airport and I'm checking in, getting my ticket, and I am already freaking out because Shanghai's on the verge of a lockdown again, and I'm just trying to get the fuck out of this country.
Yeah.
You know? And just been in panic mode and in super high anxiety for the past week. And I hand over my test results to the clerk at the counter, and she said, "One moment, I need to go speak to my manager." I was like, okay.
Oh God, here we go.
She said, "One of these we can't accept. We can't accept one of these." I said, "What's wrong?" And it's like, "What? Your name's Donovan J. Struthers, right?" And I said, "Yeah." "And how do you spell your middle name?" It's Jay. And like it showed her my passport, and she said, "Well, yeah, on here it says JA." Like the people at the hospital didn't put a Y on it.
Oh no.
I said, "That's my middle name. Like that's like the last name anyone ever calls me."
Yeah.
And it's the most insignificant name that I have.
Yeah.
And she said it doesn't match, so it's a problem. But she said, "You still have another form of test result." And I showed her the second form, and they wanted you to have 2 just for an instance like this.
Right.
Show her the second one. She's like, "I have to go talk to my manager." I'm like, "You gotta be fucking shit me."
No shit. Yeah.
She comes back, and she said, it should be okay, but before you get to Tokyo, you need to try to see if you can get an updated version of this PDF, because they're like Americans have a social security number, right?
Yeah.
Or like a driver's license number.
Right. Right.
Just a form of identification. Chinese have a Chinese ID.
Okay.
Number, okay. And then we also have our passport numbers.
Right.
So there's the Chinese ID line, and then there's a passport ID number line. And they wrote my passport number under the Chinese ID.
Oh God.
And they didn't let me on the plane because of that.
Dude, you had to been just like, come on.
I messaged the guy at the airport that sent me the PDF, and I was like, "Hey, is there any way you can get this fixed in the next hour and a half? I'm like before I leave."
Yeah.
China. And he's like, "Yeah, no problem." And
they got it fixed.
They got it fixed, and
yeah.
Super heavy scrutiny in Japan, heavy scrutiny in Korea, just like checking all my information, checking vaccination records, checking negative test results. Verifying where I've been and where I'm going and how long I'm gonna be there, and everyone's getting scrutinized, whether you're a foreigner or Chinese. And I get to Chicago. Do you know how many people looked at the negative test result?
Yeah,
big fat
shit.
Fucking 0.
Yeah,
no one looked at it.
Yeah, you're good.
No one looked at it.
Yeah,
like,
you're good.
All that worry. I was in transit for like 30 hours, and I'm freaking out.
Yeah, no, you're good.
And no one gave a shit. And the funny thing, it was America's guidelines as to how it was their protocol.
Was it really?
They didn't even check.
Yeah, you're good.
So yeah.
Yeah, we had to do that when we came back from Ireland. You had to have, so it was an issue because you couldn't, if I remember correctly, you couldn't buy the tests there, but you had to have 2, so you had to take them with you there.
Okay.
You fuck it up, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
So like I remember, and they had like these. It was an odd deal, dude. I remember sitting, we were like in the little room, the hotel or whatever. Like I'm sitting in my bed in my boxers, and like we're getting ready to leave, and you had to do this within where it got tricky is it also had to be within so many hours of your return home.
Yeah.
But your return home, you have a long ass flight.
Yeah,
So it
exactly.
got weird because, and like a lot of stuff was like kind of a gray area, right? So like they
Well,
tell you like,
it says a day before departure.
yeah,
Is a day 24 hours?
right. Yeah, there was that. But
What is a
then,
day?
yeah, that's exactly right. And so we were like, okay, well, all right. So this has to be done a day before departure, right? So we'll call it 24 hours. But when you come back to America, it's got to be within like, I don't remember what it was, but like we'll just say, I don't know, 26 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, well, my flight isn't 2 hours long, dude.
Yeah.
So how in the hell is this? Like, it didn't. None of the stuff lined up, and it was so weird because I remember I had to download this app on my phone, and I would sit there and you had to look at the camera and like
Yep.
show the camera around, And I'm sitting there in this thing, and you gotta, okay, so you gotta put the thing in your nose, and like swab it all around and shit. And I'm doing this, and then you got to put it in this like little pad thing and like turn it around and then show them, like, take your phone, show them the pad of paper that you just wipe this thing
Yeah.
on, then it comes up with the lines and shit. It was so bizarre.
Ugh.
Yeah, it sounds very similar to what you had to. It's just so weird, such an odd time. And it was the same thing. We got back to like, oh yeah, you're good.
Nothing.
Yeah, you're good. You're fine.
And then right before like Shanghai was about to experience their lockdown, and Nanjing is pretty close proximity to Shanghai. It's like 2 hours by fast train away, and we felt the pressure of it in Nanjing because people travel through from Shanghai and stop in through Nanjing.
Yeah.
And dude, we had to do, and people still experience this today. Like, you have to do like community wide testing like every 2 days.
Damn, really?
Like you were required to leave your apartment at some point, or skip out on work, or be late to work, or whatever.
You're gonna get your ass in. We're
You
gonna
gotta
get you
go get a
tested.
test. You gotta get a test done.
Damn.
Yeah, I was tested. It started 2 weeks prior to leaving, or yeah, before leaving, and I was tested every other day for 2 weeks before leaving.
That is wild.
And they don't. I mean, it's February,
Yeah.
and it's pretty cold there still. Like
Yeah.
I'm, like in a subtropical area. It's kind of, Nanjing's kind of like Tennessee climate.
Uh-huh.
I compare it to that, but winter it's still cold, and
Right.
it's like 37 degrees, and it's raining, and I am in a line with 1,000 people ahead of me because we are all from the same district that all have to go get a test done. And we have to get it done right now, and then you get a slip of paper. Then you can hand the slip of paper to your security guy, who is blocking the front of your apartment to allow you in to go to your home.
Oh, your ass ain't even going home.
Well, you can't get in home. You
Yeah,
can't get in
without
your
it.
home without this your slip.
Right.
So and again, I have friends that are still dealing with that shit every day or every other day.
I wonder
Right
how long
now,
that'll
to this
last.
day.
Like,
I have no clue. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
there were a lot of, so Xi Jinping just got voted in again. He changed the law to make sure that he could have a third term.
Nice.
Um,
Some shit I'd do.
but there were rumors saying that he was going to wash it all away
Oh.
after Spring Festival this year. So I don't know, man. I don't see that being the case. They're pretty strict and stringent on their zero COVID policy. And my question is, how do they phase out of that? So you have 1.4 billion people who are deathly afraid of this thing,
Right.
that the government is telling them that they need to be scared of. Not only just to be scared of the virus, but be scared of what happens to you if you get sick.
Yeah.
That was a thing for me. I don't even know what would have happened if I got sick. I understand that they take you from your home. You can't quarantine just by yourself.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta. From what I've read, they most of the time they'll know before you know, because of this geo tracking.
Oh, right, because your color will change,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, your ass is red.
So
bitch.
someone else tested positive, and I was close to that dude. They're coming knocking on my door.
Yeah, no shit.
Authorities are coming and knocking on my door. I pack a bag. I gotta go, and I gotta go with them for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then you're kind of like a social pariah. Like,
Yeah, you've been.
people know that.
Yeah,
you've
you're
been gone because of
disgusting.
that,
Dude. Yeah, you nasty bastard.
and you're gonna give them the death, the
Yeah.
death virus, and
Right.
and your company that you work for knows, so they
Oh.
may ask you to take time off from work because they're, I know you just did quarantine in a state monitored hotel, but we're gonna have to make sure that you're safe, and you're gonna have to stay at home for another 3 weeks before you can.
Dude, that's crazy. Like, just imagine if like half of those people came or just could see here, you'd be
Yeah.
like, these fucking cowboys don't care about nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do they get out of that?
Right.
Like how do
Yeah,
you
even if they
then just
dropped,
say, "Oh, everything's okay now."
yeah, if they drop the policies,
It's
these
all
people are
gone.
still gonna be
COVID's
like,
dead. No one,
fuck you, I ain't
yeah.
going out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna take a long time for the effects of that to return back to normal for China. Like it's so fucked.
Boy, that's wild. I had no idea about any of that. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could talk for hours about it. But yeah, so I most of the fun stories that I have about China are pre-COVID.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I'm sure.
just because life was totally different
I'm sure it
afterwards.
lost its luster a bit after
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
a few good things came out of like post COVID. Like I said, I had the bar. I couldn't travel, so I couldn't travel outside my city. So
Right,
if we were in the city, we could do whatever we wanted to.
right.
Um, so I had the bar, and then when things became okay again to travel within the country, um, got to do some traveling in the western part of China, which is epic. Like just you're going through untouched part of the world, just like out in the like base of the Himalayan mountains and stuff,
Damn, that'd
like
be awesome. Yeah,
northwest China and Yunnan province. It's super sick. Yeah, and it just it was a long, fun ride, but I'm glad to be back. Like
sure.
towards the end, it was what do you value? Like I was still getting paid and getting paid pretty well um, when I was living over there, and I lived in downtown of a city of 9 million people, and I had high rise apartment,
Yeah,
and I had access to any kind of worldly cuisine that I wanted to, and had friends there, but at what cost? Like is your mental health worth it to
yeah.
have this life where instead of just coming back when I know like everything was pretty chill over here as far
Right.
as COVID goes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was the best decision that I could have made to get out when I did. It was just um, yeah, really taking a toll on me, but yeah, I'm glad to be back
Hell yeah.
for
I'm glad to
sure.
have you back. And just walking. Don't mean
Hell
to
yeah, brother.
don't mean to hijack your podcast on
Yeah,
COVID policies in China. That is
yeah,
badass to hear about it.
yep.
Yeah. So, well, I guess let's see. I've had you on for about an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We got anyone that's near here, you can swing by. We're gonna have some burgers out tonight. I'm
Hell's
gonna
yeah.
make him fire up his Blackstone. Um, and it's just Donovan, not just walking. So
Yeah.
don't get no bright ideas, assholes. In fact, you got to bring your own hamburger. It's the
I'm
only
just
problem.
grilling, okay? Chill out.
Yeah, state's watching. Your ass is out, dude. Nah. So if you'd like to come shoot the shit with Donovan and ask him some cool questions, you feel free. But it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I was pretty stoked that to hear you doing some stuff with food and coming back, and I'm excited to see what comes of it. I'm excited to see what you do with it. I think it's a huge opportunity for you, and I think you're driven and motivated enough to really kick ass. So,
Thanks, man.
yeah, I'm stoked to see
Appreciate
it.
that.
Yeah, and for those of you that are listening, if you could share this podcast, it would greatly help me out as well as Donovan. And I also tagged his Facebook page on this too. So if you go to Just Walkin', it should be in the description of this. Um, if you are listening to it on Spotify or iTunes or something like that, it won't be in the description of that. But if you get on Facebook and look up Just Walkin', it's WOKKIN.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, yeah, Just Walkin'. If you look that up, it'll pop right up, and just go give him a like and follow his new menu and check that out. You said you'll be out there when tomorrow?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah,
Two different kinds of soups and a new sandwich.
hell yeah, yeah. Go check it out and tell him that you watched the podcast and that it didn't suck.
Yep.
And no, just go over there, try some good shit, man. I guess I can't speak for your new menu, but I know the fried rice was kick ass. And
Thanks.
yeah, always a pleasure to have you on here. Next podcast I'm doing is actually going to be this Thursday. Here in just a few days, I'm gonna have my dad come on. My dad went through a surgery, got his leg amputated, and everybody every day I go somewhere. It doesn't matter if it's a store, the gas station, or whatever, and someone's How is your dad doing, Brandon? Well, it's time to answer some questions. And I didn't want to ask my dad to do it, but he sent me a text the other night. He's like, we should do a podcast. And
Oh yeah.
anybody that knows me knows that I love busting my dad's balls anyway. So I was pretty stoked to hear that. And I think it's going to be a good podcast. I'm sure it'll get, we'll get into some heart to heart shit. And I'm pretty stoked about it. But that will be next Thursday. And this podcast will be available on all listening platforms by tomorrow. It'll be on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, all those, as well as YouTube and obviously Facebook. That's where you're watching right now. So yeah, man, thank you again for coming on.
Thanks
dude.
for having me, man.
Yeah, this has been a blast. If you guys are listening to this, please hit share. I appreciate all you guys. And I'll be seeing y'all real soon, just a couple days. And hell yeah, thank you. Just Walking. Go give them a like on Facebook. And I'll see y'all later.
Thanks, Brandon.
Hell yeah, thank you, dude.